Welcome back to our series called Ecommerce Agency Wisdom. I'm your host, Rachel Jacobs. I don't think I've ever done that intro before, but there we go. Founder of e-commerce partnerships and e-commerce agency growth. And this series is called Ecommerce Agency Wisdom, What I Wish I Knew About whatever the topic is. And today we're joined by Mike, who's the founder of Dapper Consulting. And he is a specialist in all things project management, delivery, all production, all of that stuff is all Mike. I have a private community for agencies, and Mike is one of the specialist coaches in there that helps a lot of the agencies that we have in there with all of their project management delivery issues. So I think the topic that we wanted to go to get started with was the relationship or the partnership between sales and delivery. That's the topic.
Absolutely.
Okay, over to you.
Cool. Thanks, Rach. Thanks for having me. When it comes to kind of sales, so as you mentioned, I've come up through project management within e-commerce agencies to then project management and all that good kind of stuff. And coming up through like that process and as a project manager, one of the things that I was seeing within the agencies that I was working on, it was kind of built almost into the structure of so many agencies, was the separation between sales and delivery. Whereas, especially when we in delivery would often think of ourselves as like, oh, we're not salespeople. We could never do that. And in some ways that actually formed this us versus them mentality when it comes to sales and delivery. And sales kind of had it on the same side, right? They're looking to close deals. Sometimes the best salespeople that I work with make sure that they are closing deals that can be done in the way that they're sold. But not every salesperson works that way. Not every salesperson has that mentality. And so sometimes working with salespeople who didn't have that mentality, there became this really big divide between how we thought and worked on delivery and how sales thought and worked. And so what I'm working with and my partner Dallin at Dapper Moose also really strongly worked with is this idea of sales and delivery integration and trying to break down some of those barriers. So, this idea that if you hear on your team from a delivery standpoint, right? Oh, I'm not a salesperson. I've never been interested in sales. But if you change that word just a little bit and instead say, I'm not interested in sales, but it says, well, are you interested in helping people find solutions? They'll say, yes, absolutely. And by just changing some of the ways that we think about sales and by changing some of the ways of what that actually is, we can actually bring in delivery folks and that delivery mindset over into sales to be willing to help salespeople actually close those deals, provide solutions, unique solutions. A lot of the best sales that I've been a part of or that we've seen from agencies lately are ones where the salesperson will bring in an engineer or a project manager or the head of delivery to actually speak to what that actual process is going to look like, and to be sure that give that prospect some confidence that this isn't just a delivery person saying, providing these promises. They're hearing it directly from a delivery person. And so that's kind of been a huge part. And the same thing from the other way, when sales is willing to pull in a delivery person, it may or may not slow down that sales process just a little bit, hopefully not. But by bringing in delivery people all of a sudden then understand what the limitations of the market are. Why can't we go above 50,000 for this particular deal? Or, man, how are we supposed to, survive or thrive when we're hearing that our competitors are, selling the same work we are, but for 2/3 of the price? So, as a delivery person, I care about my job. We need to have work rolling in. So now we understand how we need to work with a salesperson to actually find ways to make our work more productive, less expensive, so that we can continue doing what we love at the agency that we love doing it. So but marrying sales and delivery through a couple key contact points is, I think, vital in any agency looking to grow and kind of get beyond that sales delivery sort of battle.
Yeah, I can speak. I know that we've been involved in a couple of projects where there's been a massive disconnect what people are selling, and then it gets kind of thrown over the fence into delivery, and it's just like, well, I don't know how this was sold. But practical terms, the reality of this is that what's being sold is not feasible with the time constraints or the budget that we have. So ultimately, I would say that this comes down to good process. This having a good process, internal handover and client-facing handover, which a lot of agencies, they're just so focused on selling stuff that they're not really thinking about, like, how does this actually impact my team? And that's where the wheels start to come off.
Exactly. And that's where, it's things to look at, where if you have, a lot of project manager churn, that would be one of the first places to look. Because again, it's, if that salesperson or sales team is making those impossible sales, what's happening then likely is they're throwing that deal over the wall. Now delivery has it, and now delivery, and specifically the project managers, are the ones dealing with the angry clients, right? They're never, like, salesperson isn't getting re-brought in because as a project manager, I now have to explain why we can't do this project at this budget that was proposed. That's not coming in from, the salesperson isn't getting brought in to experience that anger from that client for the ways that was happening. That was a project manager. And that's a very leading case of burnout at an agency, is having to constantly deal with clients who are angry that they can't get what they were promised in that sales process. So like that is another thing to look at if you're experiencing that project management burn or that project management morale problem. I would start and look at that sales and integration piece to see what can be done there to bring those two more in line with one another.